Welcome to another episode of Unleashing the Future of Work, a guide podcast live. Happy Tuesday if you're tuning in from wherever you're tuning in in the world. Today, I'm joined by an awesome guest, Greg Isenberg, who is previously the founder and CEO of Islands, a group chatting app for college students that was acquired by WeWork. He's the founder and CEO of 5by, a leading video discovery app which got acquired by StumbleUpon. He helped build one of the internet's most popular financial education app, Wall Street Survivor, which was also acquired. And he's been building marketing strategies and technology products for brands like FedEx, NASCAR, TechCrunch, and WordPress. Today, he builds internet communities and does early stage investing. He's the head of product strategy at WeWork, he was acquired by via their Islands acquisition, and where he built technology to support his members in the WeWork community, find their people, and build meaningful relationships. He's also a growth advisor at TikTok, one of the most popular social apps in the world right now, and a venture partner at Indicator Ventures, a tech venture fund. Man, this guy knows tech, and he's been fortunate enough to be featured upon in places like Vanity Fair, Forbes, Mashable, Fortune Magazine, LA Times, and a winner of the Webby Awards. I'm really excited and honored to have him on the show today. And we're going to chat tech, and we're going to talk a little bit about what are some of the trends he's keeping track of, and also how he got his start in the tech industry and some of the things he's excited about in the future. So without further ado, let's bring on Greg. Greg, what's up, man?
How you doing? Thanks for that intro.
Of course, man. How have you been? Have you been hanging there during COVID-19, post-COVID, and during COVID?
You know, I've been okay. I feel like I haven't had a lot of sleep because I've been thinking a lot about all the opportunities that are happening right now with the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, man. How long have you been building internet communities now, Greg?
Really since a teenager. So I'm 31 now. And it's always been something of interest, bringing people together through technology. And yeah, it's only gotten bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So for you, when did your infatuation for getting into technology and building community start?
It actually started when I was 13. I went into a library and I found this book called The Road Ahead. It was by Bill Gates. And in it, it's actually quite fascinating. He basically outlines the future of what he believed the world to be. And he was actually spot on. He believed in video conferencing. He believed in cryptocurrencies. He believed in, this was probably the early 90s. He believed in, basically every major innovation he basically called. And I read this book and I was like, wait, if this is the future, like I need to be in this.
Yeah.
And it's just been really cool to see how it's been accelerating. But that's how I got my first start.
The Road Ahead by Bill Gates.
Yeah, Bill Gates.
That sounds like a classic. Shout out to Manik, who is tuning in. He's saying, wow, he's excited for this episode. I'm definitely going to share a link to that book because that sounds like something that everyone should have on their bookshelf. So let's talk about, Islands. What inspired you to start that company in the past?
Yeah, so we started Islands in 2015. The idea was group chat is the new social network, which sounds obvious now, but back then wasn't as obvious.
People weren't woke.
Yeah, well, it just takes time. It takes time. Our vision was that, if group chat is the new social network, then you would have places where different communities would chat, and that ended up happening. So Discord, which is Slack for gamers,
yep,
that became a thing. Slack became only more of a thing. And even Reddit today has chat. So we decided we raised a couple $1 million on the idea, and decided that we were going to build specifically for the vertical of college. Which is where Facebook started off originally. So that's kind of how it started.
Wow. So really kind of catching on that trend that group chat is the new social network, and then building from there, choosing your niche and going from there.
Yeah, I think you do, that's kind of been a theme in everything I've done, which is like pick a niche and go there, and like don't be afraid, don't be afraid about the size in the market initially.
Yeah.
As long as you create a product that people will talk about and brings people together, I think that ultimately you could usually expand that market. So that's how we started.
Yeah. You definitely have that entrepreneur and entrepreneur streak within you. Can you share a little bit about the challenges of entrepreneurship, man, and starting anything new?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is really just the loneliness. The fact that as founders, and even if you do have co-founders, it's a very lonely experience.
It is. It is.
And even when things are going well, you hope it gets better. And even when things are going well, you feel like things are going to fall apart. And I think like it takes a certain type of person to be comfortable with a mass amount of uncertainty. And when you're hiring people and people's lives depend on you, I think especially during times like COVID and when people need healthcare and people need to take care of their families, like it's really important to take it seriously, so that it's a serious job.
Yeah, and from a leadership standpoint. So I want to ask you, man, let's dive deep on, your thoughts on vertical networks. You were just talking about how when it came to Ireland, you all chose a vertical, found a niche, and built a sustainable company that was successfully acquired within the process. You've mentioned to me there's a lot of trends and opportunities that you're seeing right now. So where do vertical networks and niche communities come into play, and with what's going on right now post-COVID?
Totally. So I think it was in 2012 or 2013, a VC by the name of Andrew Parker wrote a post about the unbundling of Craigslist. And it was this idea that
legendary post.
Legendary. If you haven't read it, you're an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, like read it. It is dope. And it's really cool because, it talks about, Craigslist, which is quite a big network, horizontal. You can do so many different things on it, and how people were basically chipping at it. So you had like Airbnb come out of Craigslist in the sense that it was just the listings. You had Zillow come out of it. You had all, and if you add up the market caps of all these unbundling, it's way greater than Craigslist itself. Now, starting in 2017, 2016, there was the beginning of what I believe is the unbundling of Reddit. Reddit has obviously surged in popularity over the last few years, I think because people are looking for homes for their communities. And as well as, Facebook groups. Facebook groups had 1 billion monthly active users, so it's a very large product. But my point is, Discord, which I think had last had a $4+ billion valuation, basically started off Reddit. They basically built a product that was specific for the League of Legends subreddit and said these people have a need, and the need is to come together, and we're going to build free audio for them because you're playing games, like you're going to want to be able to chat with the people who via voice over IP. And they did the positioning. All the positioning is very gamer-like, and they did all of that. And they basically took over the League of Legends subreddit and became very popular. And after they went from League of Legends, they went to Counter-Strike Go. And after they went to Counter-Strike Go, they went to Dota. And they went, Reddit by Reddit, subreddit by subreddit.
Wow.
And it was just an amazing example of the beginnings of this opportunity to unbundle pieces. And I think what you're going to see is, Reddit's a multi-billion-dollar company, but what you're going to see over the next 2, 3, 4 years is there's going to be, 15, 20+ billion-dollar companies that come out of looking at specific subreddits and what are the needs, build something for them. And the one beauty about it is I'm not convinced that those businesses need to be venture businesses as well. You can actually the beauty about building for vertical networks is you can build it for relatively cheap. The hard part is really just how do do you really understand the audience? Do you really understand the market? Do you have relationships with some of these mods and some of these people to bring them on board? And then do you have the team? And that's, sometimes where venture helps is, do you have the team to, once you've hit that niche, expand horizontally?
No, that's so powerful. And you're using Reddit as a, test case example of how do you find the niche within an existing platform and then sequentially just keep following through and finding more niches within that platform because it's so established. Does this also apply to kind of other platforms? For example, you're an advisor, you're an advisor with TikTok. TikTok integrated with existing platforms such as IG and as well as Twitter to boost their reach within these platforms. So does this apply to other platforms beyond Reddit in your perspective?
Yeah, I think what happens with every big enough platform is that it starts to unbundle. Like, you can't be everything to everyone.
True.
You can still, like, Facebook groups is like I was saying, 1 billion monthly active users. It does a lot of good in the world, like in the sense of it brings all sorts of people together. Well, sometimes good, sometimes bad, actually. But that's a whole other discussion. But
I hope there's not devil worshippers in Facebook groups.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows what's in there? There's some deep, dark corners for sure. But I think, like, once you get to that point, what ends up happening is you have this almost like Walmart. It's like the Facebook groups is like the Walmart of the internet, and it's, you really don't have it really doesn't speak to the audience in the way that, if you think about how Discord spoke to the initial, like, League of Legends and early subreddit people, and even today, the gaming community, I think there's opportunity for these, like, think of, bespoke, basically, experiences that are very positioned for particular audiences. And I'm excited about that because, like, I'm the type of guy who, I right where I'm staying right now, I'm in Montreal, Canada. I'm staying at my brother's place, and there's like a Starbucks down the street, and then there's like the local coffee shop.
Yeah.
And I go to the local coffee shop, and it's not like Starbucks, like Starbucks is a good, consistent product, but there's just something I get, like this like little piece of magic or whatever that I get when I support my local bespoke coffee shop. And that's exactly the same sort of lens that product builders need to have when they're thinking about how do you build a vertical network. I'd almost say, don't look at what Facebook is doing. Don't look at what Snapchat is doing. Don't look at what TikTok's doing. And just, like, cover your ears, cover your eyes, and just think about, what does this audience need?
Yeah, from you. Wow, that's so powerful, man. And I think it speaks to the power of community now, even post COVID-19, moving forward, how, you can truly build a moat around your community.
Yeah, and the selfish beauty of that is, even when you look at Reddit, like, Reddit has been around for 16 or 17 years. It's still kicking it and still growing. And what you have to ask yourself, like, why? Well, because people like to go to where their community is. If their community lives on this platform, the way I think about community is it's like a party. And a good house party, your favorite songs are playing, there's, like, good food, there's your favorite drinks, maybe all your favorite people, everything just seems right. And that's really what you have to, if a good community product person thinks about all those aspects and builds it.
Yeah. So I want to shout out to Mr. Kamra, who's saying, Greg, do you have a support system during this time, especially when you are all alone at the top and don't really have a lot of people around who would understand? How do you manage? Is there a support group that you go to?
So a couple things that come to mind. The first is I do work with a coach, an executive coach. And I think, having an unbiased person that you can talk to for 1 hour a week who you trust is probably the most high leverage thing that you can do to up level and feel sane. I don't think enough people work with coaches.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So, I think Manic, he's an entrepreneur right now as well. So he can relate with that. 100%. Uh-oh, I think Greg is frozen on us. So meanwhile, as Greg becomes unfrozen, please let us know in the comments, do you have an executive coach? Or how are you thinking about building vertical networks for your own community if you're building a product? Greg, are you back with us, man?
Executive coach. Best thing you can do. Hard to find. I will say hard to find. But if you can find it, awesome. The second thing I do, which I can't do anymore because of COVID, and I'm looking for a solution, is and this is kind of weird, maybe I'm oversharing, but when I lived in San Francisco, I was living next to this Russian bathhouse.
This sounds like an interesting story.
And basically, for any of the people who live in SF, it's called the Banya SF, and basically it's this like 3-story room, like hot saunas, cold baths, steam rooms. It's like 50% like old Russian people just like hitting each other with this like branch. It's like I forget what the plaza, and it's supposed to like make you feel good. And long story short, the going into a sauna, going into a cold bath, and going to a steam, and that rotation really, really just clarifies my thinking and my mind. Can't bring in a phone and check Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and you're there alone, and there's just something about it that just gives me life. That has been, I mean, those two things have the executive coach and the hot and cold rotation vibe has single-handedly been the most high leverage way for me and has kept me sane.
Therapy, man. That's self-therapy. I might try that. That sounds amazing.
Well, and I think it's like, it might work for me, it might work for you, but I think everyone needs to find that their sauna. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's the best entrepreneurs that I know and have a really good understanding of what keeps them balanced, and because or else you're gonna just end up burning out. So
I love that. I want us to kind of get back to tech and what's going on in the world today. So WWDC, Worldwide Developer Conference, recently happened with Apple. They are doing a lot of stuff around the areas of spatial audio. They kind of showed us where the next iteration of the iOS is going. What frontiers are you looking at, Greg, right now, aside from vertical networks and communities, that excite you in terms of technology? Is AR, VR a thing that's kind of buzzing in your head, or are you more interested in what's going on in social right now?
I'm really interested in what's going on with social, just because for the longest time the narrative was that like social's done, and like Facebook owns it all, and things have changed. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a SnapKit presentation a couple weeks back with Evan Spiegel from Snap, and he talked a lot about his vision for and the team's vision for where they were taking Snapchat. And that's another company that I think people are just like, oh, I don't use Snapchat, like, isn't that for kids? But there's like 185 million people who log in daily. So it's a lot of people. So I think
a lot of traction.
One of the things that they announced, which I'm quite excited about, is this concept of mini apps. Basically, within Snapchat chat, you'll be able to create these like mini experiences. So, for example, like, I don't know, like a game, like let's just say like me and you were playing like ping pong or something. So you can create that app, or maybe like me and you I create like a shopping experience where me and you go and we buy stuff together. And I think there's something really interesting you can do once you have access to those apps, and you don't have to like download another app. And we saw that yesterday with WWDC as well, where iOS 14 will have this concept of like not really downloading apps, where you can just sort of access apps.
Wow.
Lightweight way. So I think that's where the world is going. These like lightweight apps, and it's not really a new concept. That concept was taken from WeChat in China.
China, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So and Evan Spiegel has been fascinated with China for a very, very long time. In fact, I think, and has in Snapchat his own in at least 10% by Chinese investors. So I'm not surprised that that's the direction that we're going into, and I'm excited about it because as a founder or as a product builder, there's a lot of opportunity there. Like it's like the age-old saying of in real estate, location.
That's true.
It comes back. It's like, okay, now I have access. Like, how many big companies were created in the early days when Facebook opened up their app ecosystem? Things like Zynga and like Farmville and Mafia Wars, stuff like that. Many big billion-dollar companies were created on the backs of it. Spotify was created on the backs of it to get distribution. Groupon was created, which went public. Multi-billion-dollar exit. Many, and it's you have to look at the past as a predictor of the future, and I wouldn't sleep on mini apps, basically.
Dude, that's huge. I love that. That's such a huge insight. So for you think that we're moving towards a future, whether it be augmented reality, social, mobile apps are still going to be relevant, but it's not going to be a matter of downloading or driving people to download your app. You want to make it as accessible as possible and building on top of platforms like Snapchat, or, if Facebook wants to do it for Messenger, or Apple, for example, is doing it for the iPhone. That's the future we're moving towards.
I think so. And I think like it's okay. You don't need someone to download your app. Like ultimately, it's not about creating app experiences. It's about creating experiences. And if I think that when we as technologists, when we become app centric companies, that's when we fail. But when we become experiences companies, that's when we really are customer centric. And we actually create cool shit. So I'm looking forward to that for everyone.
And I love that you say this, because at Guide, we really unabashedly thrive on saying we're an experience company and thinking about what's the end-to-end experience. And I think that's really where you build a moat on top of your community, with experiences that serve your community and also really serving their needs. That's powerful, man. Greg, when's the book coming out, man?
It's funny. I got someone reached out to me, a big publishing company reached out to me and wants to publish a book, and I'm not sure if I want to do it or not, to be in full transparency. On one hand, it's really cool because like you get to like a physical thing with ideas. But on the other hand, it's a lot of work to write a book.
It is.
But I'll keep you posted.
It is. Man, thank you so much for being on today's episode of Unleashing the Future of Work, a Guide podcast. Where can our lovely Guide community follow you and learn more about your work, Greg?
2 places. Twitter. I love Twitter. It's at Greg Isenberg. And I also started a Substack a few weeks ago, which I've been enjoying. You can check it out at latecheckout.substack.com. It's just a free Substack. I have ideas and I send stuff out.
latecheckout.substack.com, correct?
That's right.
latecheckout.substack.com. And I'm going to share that with you all right now in the link. And I want to thank Greg once again for coming on the show today. And I want to give the last word of the show to Manik Kamra. It's not about creating app experiences. It's about creating experiences. Greg, if you have a mic around, please pick it up and drop it. Such a mic drop moment. Thank you so much, Manik, for paying attention and showing love to Greg. Greg, we definitely need to have you on for a future episode, man.
I mean, if you will have me, I will come back.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Maybe 3 months from now, when a lot of things are probably going on in the tech world, and we're definitely way past COVID.
That sounds good, and I appreciate Manik. I appreciate your love, and I appreciate the supportiveness, and Tim, I'm excited about Guide, and I'm excited about the podcast, and thank you.
Thank you, man. Talk to you soon, brother.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Unleashing the Future of Work, a Guide podcast. It's always a joy doing these things because I get to talk to really brilliant people like Greg, and I have some amazing guests coming up in the future. So continue to tune in wherever you're tuning in from. And if you have any suggestions on who I should have on a future episode, or if you want to be on a future episode, please reach out. I'm super excited about having the people in our community on future episodes so we can talk tech together or just talk about you. If you're a hustler, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is, it's all about you and using this platform for you. With that said, sign up for guideapp.co. Our early beta is coming up soon, and we're going to be launching with an exclusive group of amazing creators, and you may be a part of that group if you sign up for our early beta on guideapp.co. We're incredibly excited. Things are moving in really, 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 really great direction. And we love our community. So thank you so much for tuning in, and sign up for guideapp.co if you want to be a part of our early beta. With that said, I'm wishing you peace, love, and abundance this lovely Tuesday. All right, y'all. Tune in tomorrow. Peace.